Paul Radke has been the voice of the Racers since 1989, serving as a public address announcer. Paul's voice has resonated from historic Racer Arena to the state-of-the-art CFSB Center. In the final home game of the year, Paul announced that he'd be retiring from Murray State University. We got a chance to catch up with Paul and reflect on his time here. Paul Radke needs no introduction. Paul's been here for 27 years. Been instrumental in recruiting a lot of students here. His current day job is Director of Development for the School of Agriculture. But today we're talking about how most folks know you. 27 years doing public address, being the public address announcer for the women, 24 years for the men. Paul, what are we going to do without you?
You know, a lot of people have asked me that question, and I really don't know who's going to follow in behind me. I'm sure they'll find somebody that's equally as passionate, equally as enthusiastic, and very, very good. But the athletic department's going through a search process right now to try to find 2 or 3 or 4 people to help so that there's a backup in case somebody gets sick or somebody has a conflict. But yeah, they're working through it right now. Well,
we'll talk a bit about some of your memories, but talk about your experience that you had in public address announcement before you came to Murray and how we kind of talked you into this new role here.
It's really interesting how it started. I went to college in West Suburban Chicago at a small school called George Williams College. And my roommate was a men's basketball player and a men's volleyball player. And our public address announcer resigned at that point to take another position, and they're having open tryouts. And my roommate said, "Oh, why don't you go ahead and try out?" And I said, "No, I don't want to do it." He says, "You do it in a room all the time." And I kind of did. To get Bill pumped up for a game or stuff, I'd introduce him. And one thing led to the next. I went and tried out, and I was selected for it. And I did it in my junior and senior year in college. And then I continued as I worked at George Williams College, and then when I took another job at the University of Evansville, continued to do that, and actually did a University of Evansville Murray State men's basketball game in Roberts Stadium up in Evansville, and who knew that I would be down here. But then went back to Chicago for a couple of years and then came down here in 1986, and then the journey began here.
Paul, what a great run our men and women's teams have had since you've been here. I know you've got some favorite memories of things that's happened while you've been here.
Oh my gosh. It started with me coming here, and they had a men's PA announcer, Jay Flanagan, who was our men's track coach at the time. But they didn't have a women's announcer, and so I went in to talk to Bud Childers and asked Bud, and he and I to this day are still very good friends, and he let me start. And I got in on excuse me, some of his greatest years of winning 20 games and above. Sheila Smith, who is jerseys retired here in the rafters of the CFSB Center, and some great folks that have gone through there. And then Jay left, and so I moved over and did both the men and in Steve Newton's final couple of years. I've been through Steve Newton, I've been through Scott Edgar, I've been Mark Gottfried, Tavester Anderson, Mick Cronin, Billy Kennedy, and now of course Steve Prohm, and wonderful, wonderful players. During that time there's been 9 coaches of the year, 9 players of the year, and I've been part of 26, I was checking the other day, 26 of 38 of the Ohio Valley Conference Championships that we've won here at the institution. And so it's been a big run for me, and one that I've really, really enjoyed.
So if things start going the other way, maybe it's you, right?
I have a 700 winning percentage. I just want that known out there on the floor. I can coach them up big time down here, but I've been privileged to sit in the best seat of the house. I hear a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't hear from both coaches and players and referees, but I've had some great opportunities to see great plays, great coaching, and great teams that have come through here.
Well, Paul, we'll miss you, but the best of you and Roseanne as you head to Lower Alabama. I know that you'll enjoy life, your retirement life. And
thank you very, very much. It's been a great run, and one that I will now get to be a fan from afar.
There you go.
And whenever I do come back, I'll be able to sit in the stands and yell at the officials just like everybody else does.
That's right. We'll count on that. Thanks, Paul.
I will.